I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, July the 5th, 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu marked the 40th anniversary of the daring raid on Entebbe yesterday in Uganda, where the rescue of the hijacked plane took place. The raid that was led by Netanyahu's brother Yonatan, who was killed in the operation. The Prime Minister was in the country also to attend a counter-terrorism conference, where he said he wished to deepen not only security relations, but agricultural and economic relations as well with the countries of Africa. The Prime Minister said at the summit that 40 years after the historic hostage rescue operation at Entebbe Airport, the world continues to face the threat of international terrorism. He said the need to unite with regional and global partners in fighting this scourge is more important than ever. In addition to Uganda, Netanyahu is making stops and meeting with the heads of state of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Rwanda. Thousands of people gathered on Sunday for the funeral of 48-year-old Rabbi Micah Mark. Mark was murdered in a terrorist attack on Friday when Palestinian terrorists opened fire on him and his family as they drove on Route 60 south of the West Bank city of Hebron. The shooting caused the car to spin out of control and overturn. Mickey Mark was killed instantly. His wife Chavi sustained serious injuries. His children sustained light to moderate injuries. Family members told the press that first on the scene of the incident was an Arab family that offered them first aid until paramedics arrived. The attack on the Mark family followed the murder the day before of 13-year-old Hallel Yafa Ariel, also in the West Bank, by Palestinian terrorist Mohammed Taraya. Yesterday, IDF soldiers served a demolition order at Taraya's home in the West Bank village of Bani Naim, just east of Hebron. The Mideast Quartet released their long-awaited report on the situation between Israel and the Palestinians and prospects for peace on Friday, on the heels of the two deadly terror attacks. Envoys of the United States, the European Union, Russia, and the United Nations said in the report, which has been postponed several times, that Israel's building of settlements as well as the demolition of Palestinian homes were, quote, steadily eroding the viability of the two-state solution. The report also condemned the recent terrorism against Israel and the incitement to terrorism on the part of the Palestinians. They said the Palestinian Authority should act decisively and take all steps within its capacity to cease incitement to violence and strengthen ongoing efforts to combat terrorism, including by clearly condemning all acts of terrorism, something they said regrettably has not consistently been the case. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu welcomed that part of the report. He said this culture of hatred poisons minds and destroys lives and stands as the single greatest obstacle to progress towards peace. Looking now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, July the 5th at 7 o'clock, a discussion of the causes of contemporary anti-Semitism with Professor Deborah Lipstadt, Jonathan Tobin, Mark Weitzman, Daniel Guadalupe, and Rabbi Joe Potasnik from Kane University. At 8 o'clock, author Yossi Klein Halevi and Imam Abdullah Antepli from Duke University, both who are part of the Shalom Hartman Institute in Jerusalem, talk about their personal journeys of transformation. That's from the Jewish Week Forum on Muslim-Jewish Relations with Park Avenue Synagogue in New York City. At 9 tonight, Professor Mordechai Kedar of Bar Ilan University talks about the Muslim perspective and how it impacts the Palestinian community and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That's on L'Chaim with Mark Golub. And at 10 tonight, Rabbi Mark Schneier and Imam Shamsi Ali talk about issues that divide and unite Jews and Muslims from the Skirball Center for Jewish Learning at Temple Emmanuel in New York City. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, Mark Golub speaks with columnist Issy Liebler, who discusses his criticism of J Street and other issues on tonight's In the News. And finally today, we at JBS join in mourning the passing of Nobel laureate, award-winning author, and Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel. Wiesel was born in Romania in 1928. When he was 15 years old, he and his family were sent to the Auschwitz death camp, where his mother and sister were murdered. He and his father were then sent to Buchenwald, where his father died. Wiesel's renowned book, Night, tells the story of that experience. He wrote 56 other books and taught for years at universities across the United States, including at Boston University, where he held the position of the Andrew Mellon Professor of Humanities since 1976. In 1986, Wiesel was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his courageous stands championing civil rights, human rights, and the fight against all forms of bigotry, discrimination, and brutality directed at any persecuted minority. JBS President Mark Golub called Wiesel the ultimate rabbi, teaching all of us the meaning of the Shoah, awakening the Jewish world to the plight of the enslaved Jewish community of the former Soviet Union, and providing a window into the essence of Judaism through his stirring lectures and writings of rabbinic midrash. Golub said Elie Wiesel was a most eloquent voice of moral conscience that inspired all humanity for more than 60 years. Wiesel died on Saturday at his home in Manhattan. He was 87 years old. He is survived by his wife and son. He was laid to rest on Sunday in a private service where close friends and family gathered at New York's Fifth Avenue Synagogue to remember and pay tribute. JBS will be airing a special tribute to Elie Wiesel. We will let you know when that will air. May his memory be a blessing.